Realizing your belief about your vibration. What is your belief about yourself? What is your story about your vibe? What's low vibe to me and lowers my vibration may not be low vibe to somebody else. Not because my vibration is so ascended or anything, but just because we have different points of alignment. Maybe something that I give a certain meaning to has a certain effect on my vibration, whereas something that you give a different meaning to, you get a different thing out of it because it reflects something back to you. So it really depends. And this is also just, I wanted to share with you some of the human aspects of my life, because some people may assume that all I do all day is meditate and make videos and don't, almost like I want you to know I'm a human. I'm not perfect. I'm going, a lot of the stuff I share on my YouTube channel and on my podcast channel are things I'm currently working through. They're like different energy dynamics of things I'm going through, and that's why it aligns for me to talk about them. So I'm not somebody that has it all figured out. I'm enlightened and just, perfect. It's not that at all. I'm just like you, and I'm on this journey, and I just like to share my ideas in the hopes that maybe it reflects something back to you. So low vibe, guilty pleasures that I have, and how I decide whether it's worth it or not. Now, first off, let's just talk about one of the most obvious ones, which would be like TV programming. TV programming, literally the word's programming in there. I'm intentionally using that. But there's certain shows that I've watched before that I like that may honestly have like a damper on my vibration, but I still watch them. And the thing is, it's just having the awareness of how it makes you feel. For example, there's a show on Netflix that I got really sucked into because it was so fascinating. It's called Black Mirror. Many of you probably seen it. It was out years ago and it was very popular. And it's just like this, it's this take on future potential realities in a way of what it would be like with the kind of technology and stuff. So every episode's like a different story, but it's like very fascinating the way these different like stories piece together. They're darker though. I mean, it's called Black Mirror because it's like the darker reflection of what could happen in reality when it comes to AI, when it comes to, there's episodes like on some pretty weird things. There's like, I don't know, which one is my favorite episode? I think there's this one episode where these two dudes go into, there's like this new technology that's like VR, and you put this little like chip thing, this little like magnet thing on your temple, and then you're like inside a game, you're inside a virtual reality. And there are these two guys that are like best friends that play video games together, and they're older and they go into this video game, and then they find out that they can like hook up, and one's like a female character and one's the male character, and they're two dudes. And it's like an interesting dynamic because it's just like, you could see that happening, people going into that and then escaping reality to go hook up with different avatars in like virtual reality. And it has this weird ending and it's interesting, but like episodes like this and Black Mirror, there were some episodes that were much darker than that. And I would watch, I mainly listen to these episodes when I was on the plane going to Costa Rica or going somewhere. And when I would go, I would then watch Black Mirror episodes. I download them to on my Netflix account on my iPad, and I would watch them. And I noticed, though, that certain episodes I'd watch, I would literally be thinking about them as I was going to bed, and then I'd have weird dreams. So there's some things that I watch that I could then see how it affects my energy, my subconscious mind even to this day. Like some movies and shows that are very memorable, that like spike emotion in you or make you feel a certain way or fascinating or interesting or whatever, you tend to remember them. And some things that you do, you may not want to necessarily remember, but, here's another aspect of this, though, when it comes to vibration. If we believe that our vibration is so fickle that we can't watch a show without sinking down into the deep abyss of low vibe, then it's almost the belief itself that our vibration is so fragile that it keeps us from bouncing back. If you go into it with awareness, yeah, I'm probably going to watch the show. It might not be the best for my consciousness or my subconscious mind, but I'm going to enjoy it. I'm not going to feel guilty about it. Guilt is something you feel when you feel like you've done something wrong. If you own your choices, and you own it with awareness, and maybe eventually make the choice, I'm not going to watch this anymore, and that's okay too. You don't have to feel guilty for not doing it, but realizing your belief about your vibration. What is your belief about yourself? What is your story about your vibe? If it's so fickle, if it's going to put you into this deep abyss, then that means that maybe it's more so about changing the belief. Now, of course, go down the path of least resistance with this. There's a new show I started watching, and I watch it when I'm working out at my gym. I've been working out in my garage. And when I do, there's a show that many of you have probably heard of, and it's called Breaking Bad. And I'm like 4 episodes in, and everyone's always talked about how it's an amazing show, but it's a very dark show, even from the ongoing. Like, they have to, like, dispose of a body, and they're using, like, the guy's a chemistry teacher that's making meth, and he's, like, using acid to get rid of the body, and like, the acid tears through the upstairs tub and goes to the bottom floor, and it's just crazy. But you see how clearly I remember that in my mind, that visual. Is that good for me going to bed at night? Like, these are things, that are guilty pleasures that I'm aware of, that I can still see how it's affecting my vibe. And there are times I've watched movies. I do not watch horror movies. My friend Matt and his girlfriend, they have horror movie, like Scary Movie Wednesdays. They love it. And that's cool for them. Like, that works for them. I don't want to spike adrenaline in my system. Even though maybe it feels good to some people, I don't want to do that because I know it messes up my sleep. He even told me, my buddy Matt, he said he has this Oculus VR with, like, zombies. And he says that after doing that, he has weird dreams at night. Well, of course, you're literally believing you're in a reality with zombies that are chasing you and you're attacking and having to kill. That's like the ultimate. Like, VR is going to be a whole different game because people will really think that they're there. And it could be really good. I've had these ideas with VR. Like, imagine having a VR system that helps you rewire belief systems, that helps you push out of your fears. Imagine you're afraid of, getting out of your comfort zone and speaking in front of people. And then there's a VR system. There's like a VR thing for getting out of your comfort zone where you then speak on stage in front of, like, thousands of people. And you can trick yourself to believe it's real so that you can, like, push through fears. It could be a very beneficial thing, VR, but could also be something that's very detrimental, to our consciousness. It's not what this is. It's how we use it. It is the context. And it's the same thing with these, shows and even music. For example, my guilty pleasure, I go to the gym. I do not work out at the gym with Enigma and Enya. I'm not listening to Only Time while I'm pushing bench set or doing, like, weighted pull-ups. Can you imagine? Actually, I think I've done that before just out of curiosity, and it is the most interesting thing. Imagine having this soft, flowy music, and then you're like pushing it, trying to really work out at the gym. I'm a big fan of spiral dynamics. I have episodes on spiral dynamics. It helps you understand, like, levels of consciousness, and you'll pretty much understand everything in your life in a very different way and how you relate to people. But with spiral dynamics, there's the level of blue. Blue is the level of, like, religion. It's the level of, like, democracy and conformity and social conditioning. And above blue, it's like blue people find a lot of safety and morality and, like, a structure and a system. And then above that, we have orange. Orange is business, success, science, weightlifting, sports. Orange is like money and capitalism and then above orange is green. Green is like the hippie movement. We're all one consciousness. Philanthropy, psychedelics and plant medicine. What else? And then above that is yellow, and yellow is when you become aware that your beliefs create your reality, and you can see the beauty in all the levels below it, and you can, like, morph into the different levels and not judge it, but see it. So it's like that's like another level. So those are like the main levels in spiral dynamics that relate to us. I hope you guys enjoyed that little segment from my podcast called the Aaron Doughty Podcast. If you want to listen to the rest of that episode, click the link below. You'll see it on iTunes and Spotify. You can download episodes. It's so easy to listen to. You can do it while you're working out, while you're driving. It's so convenient. And that's where new episodes go live every Tuesday and Thursday every single week. I have guests coming on the podcast. I have solo episodes, and we go really deep. This is really a place where I get very personable and I share more about things I'm thinking of. I share my top book insights, and you can check it out and subscribe below, and you will see it there. So iTunes, Spotify, listen to the rest of the episode below as well. And I hope you guys enjoyed. And as always, I'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace, much love, and namaste.